The Denver Broncos added JK Dobbins to their running back room this week. Will JK become the first Broncos running back to reach 1,000 rushing yards in a season since my coworker did it, Philip Lindsay, back in 2019? That all depends on this one thing, and I'll tell you what that is in 5 seconds. All right, Broncos country. JK Dobbins, it is official. He is in Denver. He is going to be a part of the 2025-26 Denver Broncos, and we stole him from the Los Angeles Chargers. Makes it all that much sweeter. So can he be the first Broncos running back since 2019 to rush for 1,000 yards? I think he can, but it's going to depend on one very, very specific thing, and that's his head coach. And that's the number of touches or carries, whatever you want to break this down to, that JK gets from head coach Sean Payton. Now, I mentioned Philip Lindsay being the last Broncos running back to achieve 1,000 yards in a season. He actually did it in 2 straight seasons, in 2018 and in 2019. He rushed for 1,037 yards in 2018, 1,011 yards in 2019. It took Phil 192 carries to get to over 1,000 in his first year. It took Phil 224 carries to get to that number in year number 2. So you know what my magic number is? You know what depends on J.K. Dobbins making it or not making it to 1,000 yards? It's 200. Can he get to 200 touches as the Broncos' featured running back? Now this is where Sean Payton comes in. We all know what happened last year, right? Sean Payton, I was sitting in the room, sitting in the press conference room after 6, 7, 8 different games where somebody in the media would raise their hand. They'd ask Sean the question, hey, you talked about earlier in the week, having a game plan that involves the running backs and being a run-first kind of football team. What happened? Sean would sit up there, kind of give you that dirty look that he gives you when he doesn't like the question that you asked. And he'd go, well, we have to self-evaluate. We got to, look within. It starts with me. I'll be better next week. And then the same thing would happen, so on and so forth. So when they add a guy like J.K. Dobbins, when they draft a guy like R.J. Harvey, I love it. Broncos country, I'm sure you love it. Why wouldn't you? Those are 2 huge upgrades in the running back room. But have you fully given Sean Payton your trust when it comes to running back reps and splitting them the right way? Because I'm still a little nervous about that. So if you can tell me J.K. Dobbins is going to get 200 plus carries, I'll feel comfortable telling you he's going to rush for 1,000 yards. But you can't tell me that. Sean can't even tell me that right now. He just has too many sticks in the fire, if you will. So I know J.K. is going to be around. I know R.J. is going to be involved. Last year, the 2 top touchers of the football were Javonte Williams and Jaleel McLaughlin. That wasn't good enough, and they weren't even close to sniffing 1,000 yards. Now, neither of them were close to sniffing 200 touches either, but even with 200 touches, they weren't going to get there. And that's a little bit of the good side of this conversation. But maybe that's why Sean didn't trust those guys. Because did you? I know I didn't watching the game. I don't want Javonte Williams touching the ball more than he already was. I don't want Jaleel McLaughlin even on the team at this point because I think it's over. I mentioned that before. I've seen that movie. Time to move on and try somebody else. My biggest fear is that JK and RJ are similar in Sean's eyes as far as what they bring to the team, that he splits the reps and neither of them get to 200 like we watched with Javonte and Jaleel. Oh, and then by the way, let's say Jaleel's still in this conversation or it's Audric Estime as that third guy. Sean said all offseason he trusts in that room to be developed. It's just about getting those guys more touches and opportunities. So what I'm nervous about is Sean not staying true to his word and trying to be pass-first quarterback, going to shove Bo down everybody's throat, got to prove I was so right, and I'm this offensive genius specifically when it comes to the quarterback. And the Broncos' identity is a pass-first football team led by Bo Nix. And then second, if it is JK, RJ, Jaleel, and Audric, or Audric and Jaleel, whatever order you pick, it doesn't even matter. Is he going to try to do too much because he has too many toys, right? You're that kid with all the brand new toys. You're like, man, do I play with this or do I play with this or do I open up this and play with that for the first time? That's what Sean's going to have to do with that running back room. And too many options is a problem for Sean Payton. You know how I know? I watched it all year last year when he went from Javonte to Jaleel to Audric Estime given a slight opportunity. And then, heck, Tyler Bidet before he got injured in that Jets game. Blake Watson got an opportunity at one point. Those are 5 different backs. That's just too much to try to sort out in an environment that is a live game. So much so that Sean knew he had a problem. Remember when he wrote "run it" on the top of his play sheet and still didn't run it? That's what I'm worried about with Sean Payton, just having too many sticks in the fire, too many shiny toys that he wants to play with, and not sticking with one to break it in and make it that great, perfect toy or running back, if you will. So another thing with what Javonte and Jaleel did not have that JK and RJ do have, first of all, it's yards per carry for JK Dobbins. His career yards per carry is over 5. Over 5. I get it. It's been a short career, and yes, he's dealt with injuries. That will help a little bit with your yards per because he's not playing in as many games. Last year with the Chargers, it was 4.6. 4.6. That doubles up what Javonte Williams was doing in yards per carry. That's going to help a ton. He's still going to be running behind the best offensive line in the NFL. And by the way, I think RJ, we'll see what it looks like as a rookie, but I know JK, he knows who he is. Javonte turned into this from power running back, I'm going to run you over, I dare you to get in my way, to let me dance east and west and try to find this hole. That's not who he is. I don't know why he got away from this guy and turned into that guy. JK Dobbins, he knows who he is. He can give you a little bit of that. It's not his, specialty, but he can break out. He's small, so we can kind of hide in those big packs of offensive linemen, determine where the hole is, and then boom, he's breaking through it. So JK's identity as an NFL runner has been established. Javonte nor Jaleel had that. And then RJ Harvey, how about his threat being a pass catcher out of the backfield, something he was great at his time playing in college. Now it's the Big 12. He's moving to the NFL. It's certainly going to look a little different, but I think both of them bring a different skill set, but they're very comfortable in their roles, where guys like Javonte and Jaleel were still like on the job training, on the fly, trying to figure out what they are in Sean Payton's system. The other thing with JK being a 1,000-yard rusher is he going to play 14, 15 games? Can he get there at that number while splitting reps with a guy like RJ Harvey? Well, I mentioned that number at 4.6 yards per carry. Let's say Sean gives him anywhere between 15 and 18 carries per game. He's never going to give 20. In Sean Payton's NFL career, he's done it twice, I think, given a running back 20 carries per game. And those are back in his NOLA days when it was a little bit different and the landscape of the NFL was a little bit different as well. So don't bank on that. The Broncos aren't going to be this, wow, they're going to run the ball down your throats, right? They're not the Baltimore Ravens with Lamar Jackson and with Derrick Henry. But can you get JK Dobbins between 15 and 18 carries? So 15 and 18 carries, he plays 15 games. Let's just say that, right? I know a lot of people are going to think that number's too high, but I got to remind you about Bo Lowry. Bo Lowry's the secret sauce down there at Broncos Park, powered by Common Spirit. He's the reason for the last 2 years that the Denver Broncos have had the least amount of injuries, easy for me to say, my mouth is injured, in the NFL. And ask Sean Payton about it. He'd love to tell you about how great Bo Lowry is. So you have that advantage as well. That's the formula. You have to get 15 to 18 carries a game. And by the way, that might have to be a bigger chunk to start the season, because JK Dobbins is going to be RB1 to start this season. I can't promise you that or even feel good about saying that he's going to be RB1 throughout the entire season. Let's figure out what RJ Harvey looks like once we get into camp, once we get into preseason games, and then the regular season when they're playing some real football. I'd imagine it starts with JK as RB1, RJ as RB2, and then by the time we get to, let's say, week 7, it's JK1A and RJ1B, which goes back to my, problem scenario of what does Sean do? Put his eggs in the RJ basket, put his eggs in the JK basket. Where does he go with the running back room? But if you can do those things, 200 is the big number. You have to get to 200 carries for JK Dobbins. If he can do that, JK is going to become the first Denver Broncos running back since Phillip Lindsay, guys. He's doing radio down the hallway from where I am right now. He did it in 2018 and 2019, but JK Dobbins, he's on his way to being 1,000-yard back for the Denver Broncos this year. Great signing, great addition. It tells me that the Denver Broncos think they're much closer to returning to the promised land of the NFL than maybe a lot of us thought they were. What do you think? Can he get to 1,000 yards? Love to hear from you in the comment section here on YouTube. While you're there, like, subscribe, follow us on all the socials. Follow me on all the socials. Joshua Dover on Twitter and Joshua Dover Radio on Instagram. Love to hear from you in the comments. I'll try to circle back and react to a few things that you had to say. But this has been Dover on Denver, and now I'm done.